Hello, voices. I'm Joe Troy, and welcome to a VOICEOVER'S audio adventure, a bi-weekly podcast where we talk voiceover, audio, and everything in between. My guest today is a German-born multilingual powerhouse, an actor, voice actor, singer, director, coach, and I'm pretty sure that's just scratching the surface. You may have heard her voice bringing characters to life in Cyberpunk 2077, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Locomotive, and many more. Please welcome to the pod, Leonie Schliesing. Did I say your last name right?
You did. Well done.
Cool. Do you know what? I forgot to ask you. I was like, is it Schliesing or Schliesing? Or okay, Schliesing.
No, you got it right. First
Put
try.
some
Well
respect
done.
on her name. Cool. Hello, welcome to the pod. Again, you've actually been on it in a roundabout way before, but this is the first time I'm actually speaking to you. So yeah, welcome back. And how have you been? I haven't seen or spoken to you in many years, I feel.
I know, it's been forever. I feel like the last time we saw each other was at the One Voice Awards like 2 years ago.
Was it 2 years ago? I feel like it's been longer than that.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe. But yeah, it feels like it's absolutely been forever. So it's so good to see you.
Yeah, likewise. I wanted to speak to you today because, you know, since I've seen you actually, I've seen your development online, and it's been a really impressive rise you've had in the last few years. You've been putting a lot of work in, and it's coming to fruition. So I found your journey interesting, especially as you are a multilingual voice, and especially in the world now that we live in, where representation is such a big and important thing to have, especially in the entertainment world. I want to know how you navigated that, you know, being able to speak different language but in different accents, and also live in a country where, you know, English is the first language, and, you know, you may or may not be suitable for certain roles, but you've made it work. So I want to know your secret. So that being said, I wanted to start off where I know you trained as an on-screen actor first. Is that correct?
I actually trained in musical theatre.
Okay, tell me more.
Yeah, that was kind of the plan at the start. I think I was 6 years old when I went to see my first ever musical theatre show, and I was like, this is what I need to do when I grow up. And then it sort of became a squiggly career where I was always singing, dancing, acting, like throughout my childhood and teenage years. But then when it came to actually choosing a career, I chickened out, and I went to uni in Germany and studied media science and French, and like worked in marketing for a few years. And then my late 20s, suddenly I was like, wait, what am I doing?
What am I doing in life? Yeah, as we all do.
Exactly. And so I quit my job, sold my car, left everything behind in Germany, and went to London to study musical theatre there. And that was the original plan. But then throughout the training at that musical theatre college, I realized that I was very much an actor who sings rather than, you know, a musical theatre triple threat. Like I dance, but I'm not a dancer. And so I knew that it was always going to be difficult in musical theatre, because obviously where you cut your teeth is sort of the ensemble roles, which are often very dancey. And then you've got like a handful of shows where it's more about the singing and acting, but they are obviously incredibly coveted. So I knew it was going to be difficult. And so I kind of branched out. As soon as I graduated from drama school, I very much branched out into other forms of acting and said, well, I'm going to explore screen acting, and I'm going to take some screen acting classes, and I'm going to take some voice acting, and, you know, just sort of wanted to see what was out there, and did a little bit of all of it for a while until the voice acting just sort of took off and then took center stage.
Yeah. Have you always been in like love with languages? Have you always been good at languages?
Yeah. It's always been a huge thing for me. Like, I remember when I was younger, we'd drive to Spain on holiday from Germany, because my mum didn't like to fly. So we'd drive through the Netherlands and France and Spain. And I was like 6 years old, but I'd asked my dad to like turn the radio up because I wanted to hear the local news reporters. And I was just fascinated with the sounds and the accents. And so really early on, I'd like start imitating accents, like things that I heard on TV. I'd like, you know, kind of try and imitate. And so as soon as I could in school, then in secondary school, I started learning English, and then as soon as possible French, and then Spanish, and then Italian. And so it was like just any language I can get my...
I'm
Spanish...
struggling to learn English here when you're out here like...
It's just always been a huge love of mine, and like
Yeah.
Spanish and Italian, I can like hold a basic conversation. I'm in absolutely no way fluent, but French and English are the ones that just that's stuck.
Yeah. So when you made a transition into voiceover, did you have any, what's the word? Anything that was stopping you going into it in terms of accents and stuff like that? Did you know what you were getting into, or did you just go head first into it and see what happens?
Well, actually, the voice world was so much more interested in my language and
Okay.
accent capabilities. It actually felt like in the kind of theatre and screen world, I was sort of being pigeonholed into, oh, that's the European one,
Okay.
despite totally being able to act in a British RP or an American accent. It was like I literally was only being seen for the German, the French, even the Scandinavian, which I was like, I'm not
Oh,
Scandinavian, but like, how it is in the casting
yeah.
world. And it felt incredibly limiting. Whereas in the voice world, there was immediately this like, oh my God, you can do all of this. And when you speak naturally, you've got like this weird, like unplaceable international accent, which we really love. So like
Yeah.
that was a huge draw in the beginning and still
Okay.
is. Like, corporate and commercial still really love this. What is this accent that's going on?
Really?
Yeah. It's huge. Especially
Is it
for,
so to cut you off? Would you say it's
yeah.
more for European work, or is it more for English clients or
It's for
audiences?
English. It's for international companies
Okay.
who, like, let's say they produce an e-learning course for
Okay.
all of their employees worldwide, and they don't want anyone to feel left out. So they
Okay.
hire someone with
Yeah.
a hybrid accent like this, where it's like, "Ooh, what is
Interesting.
this? Is this British? Is this European? Is this Australian?" That I sometimes get. And then if
Interesting.
I work for like an American company who are like, "We want an international accent," then I just sort of throw in a little bit more of an American sound so that it's like an
Yeah.
American base, but it still sounds international, and then they're
Mm.
super happy.
So you're the kind of person, when I get auditions through and they're like, I got one recently actually. We're like, no RP, no regional, no London, no Cockney, no this, no that. I'm like, so what do you want me to do? Be silent? And I was like, I was really trying to think, what are they asking for? But now
Yeah.
you've actually broke it down. It makes sense because you can't really place your accent anywhere. Like,
Mm.
because sometimes I listen to your accent, it's like, to somebody that doesn't know your accent, they'll just automatically think you're speaking RP, but you're not.
Mm.
And it's very hard to put it, but you are easily interchangeable. And I think, yeah, I guess that's your superpower.
Yeah, and that was the way in. And it was so
Mm.
fun because that's what felt like was the obstacle in the stage and screen world, and it was the asset in the voice world.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd been banging my head against a door that didn't want to open. I did work. Like I wasn't I unsuccessful in stage and screen. I did get work, but I
Yeah.
never quite managed to sort of, break into the stuff that I wanted to break into. And then in the voice world, the door was like open and they were like, "Are you coming in?" Or I was like, "Okay,
Yeah.
fine." And then I loved it.
Do
I
you,
felt.
do you feel that you change who you are depending on what language you're speaking? Do you feel like you're consistent all across the board?
It's interesting because yes, there are definitely slight personality shifts across the
Yeah.
languages. It's funny. Like firstly, obviously they sit in completely different parts of my mouth, so the tone and the like placement and sound is different whether I speak German, French, or English. But there's also definitely there is, because I think it's because obviously these languages are connected to versions of me. Like I grew up speaking German, and then I spoke predominantly French in sort of my early 20s when I lived in France. And
Yeah.
then I moved to England in my late 20s and have been here since for 13 years. So it's like different parts of my life that are connected to these languages and different types, different versions of me. And it feels like they come out whenever I speak those languages. It's a weird thing to say. I think nobody who isn't bilingual or multilingual is going to understand that. But there is,
Yeah.
there is slight personality shifts happening.
Yeah. you got the evil Leonie in a certain language because
Which
obviously
language? Careful.
I don't know. I was about to say, I was like, Jared, don't say it. You're going to offend people. All right. So, what language do you get cast most for? Is it English?
It is now, you know.
Yeah.
It used to be German.
Mm.
And then it sort of evened out at some point. And then it was kind of for a while sort of like a, you know, maybe 45% German and English and then 10% French. I don't work in French very much because I do have a slight accent when I speak French. I speak in a French accent. I work in a French accent quite a lot. So in English with a French accent.
English, French accent.
Or German sometimes. But I now work in English mostly because I work so much in video games. And that's mostly in English with various accents.
Yeah. Okay. And obviously for audio dramas and computer games where you're playing multiple characters, I guess that is a big draw, you know, having all those different accents and different, you know, languages under your belt. So
100%,
that's probably like your, would you say that's your biggest niche that you work in?
What, like video games? Or...
Yeah. Or just in terms of the acting side instead of like the voiceover side?
It's quite balanced actually still.
Okay.
It definitely, the video game stuff has massively picked up over the last year or two. But it is still fairly balanced where it's sort of half and half character voice versus corporate and commercial stuff. But without wanting to be a fearmonger, I feel like the corporate and commercial side might sort of, you know, dwindle a little bit. And so I hope that the character work is just going to keep on growing because that is obviously the love of it, right? The commercial stuff we do for the wallet.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's 100% true.
And the character stuff we do for the love.
Yeah. How has living in the UK changed your delivery and vocal tone over time?
It's brought everything so much more forward because German sits so far back, right? Like if I speak in a German accent, it's like all kind of back here in the throat. So obviously kind of...
Dude, say that again. I heard your accent come out. That was so cool.
Yeah. So when I speak in a German accent, everything sort of sits back here. It's like the resonance is at the back of the throat.
Yeah.
And then when I first moved to the UK, I actually had more of an American accent because I'd been watching like American TV shows and things. So that's kind of like, you know, sort of sitting somewhere in the middle of the mouth. And then the longer I lived here, the more everything has moved forward.
Wow, I know of us.
Yeah, I've been assimilated. So yeah, like the slightly sibilant T's and all that kind of stuff. Like it's been like a journey from the back of my mouth to the front of my mouth through the 13 years that I've been here.
The journey from the back of the mouth. I love that. So what would you say were your biggest early mistakes in VO? Business wise or even performance wise?
I think performance-wise, it was trying to be too much to everyone too soon. To be like, oh, I can do this, and I can do this, and I can do this, and I can do that. And, you know, not like focusing on a couple of things and figuring out how they work properly and then building slowly on that. I think that was sort of watering down my focus. And business-wise... Oh God, where do I start? I didn't consider myself a business. I was an actor, and I was like, oh, I love to do this, and oh, great. You know, it took me years to like set up a CRM and get an invoicing software, and like I was just
I still don't
like,
have one to this day.
I
use numbers on the Mac, and I've used that for the longest. I know.
Hey, but at least you have a database.
Yes.
Like
there's
that,
something to work.
I didn't even have that. I had like my email inbox. So like if I was like, oh, who is this person? I'd have to like rely on my memory to be like Jeff, John, Joe, Jocelyn, and then I'd like try and find them. So you know, it was like such a time sink and so inefficient. And I probably left so much money on the table by not having like a follow-up structure and all that kind of stuff that they now teach you. Thank you, Mark Scott. But that definitely, and also I think the biggest mistake was not finding the community earlier. I was doing this for so long just by myself and sort of tried to figure it out. I didn't know how to price myself. I didn't know how to market. I didn't know,
Yeah.
and then it was just kind of, I think it was sort of during the pandemic that I sort of stumbled upon Gravy for the Brain and the One
Yeah.
Voice conference and all that. And I was like, what do you mean there's like a whole group of people here who can help me? Who for some reason it never crossed my mind, because in the acting world, there is a huge community of that. And in the voice world, I was just like, well, I guess I'm just doing this by myself.
By myself, yeah.
It's just,
yeah.
yeah. So that's the biggest mistakes for sure that I wish I'd not made.
Yeah. I feel, especially during 2020 period, a lot of people made that transition and it did feel lonely. So not only could you not go outside, but you just assumed that you were the only person in the world doing VO. And like, it's such a weird space to be, but definitely I agree with you when it comes to the community aspect. It comes up a lot in my talks with people on this podcast, but the community aspect is very important. And yeah, without
Huge.
that, I wouldn't say I wouldn't have made it, but it would have made my ascension a lot slower.
Oh,
You know,
100%.
100%. And, you know, even I remember I think the first time we met was at a voice over award show or conference or something.
I believe it was the voiceover awards where you won.
Was it on a boat?
Yeah.
We won a boat. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the Gravy for the Brain boat party. And I believe it was the year where you won voiceover newcomer of the year.
Might have
if
been.
I'm not mistaken.
My brain is disgusting. But I remember that it's like you made this community online and everyone knew each other, but we didn't really know each other until we met in person. And we were all like you wanted to say hi because I know what you look like and I know it's you, but it's like, but yeah, just knowing that everyone's in the same position as you and being able to have a safe space, I guess that's really important. So
for sure. Yeah.
So when was your I've made it moment? Don't be humble here because we know you've made it. So when was it?
I don't know. I don't like the I've made it thing. I've always said, like, even before when I was, working on stage and screen, I've always said, look, if I can sustain myself financially from just this, that's my I've made it.
Okay.
So I guess based on that, it would have been when I quit my day job, which would have been in like 2019, I think. I was working in a cafe at the time and I quit and I was like, I'm just going to sustain myself from acting work now. And it worked. So that was my I've made it moment.
I love that. Yeah, there's nothing better than to be able to, fully commit to something. But then again, I do say to people, a lot of people do come up to you and say, I want to quit my job and do voiceover. And I'm like, are you sure you want to do that? Because sometimes it's nice to have something else there and not be so reliant on I need to, because it's a job at the end of the day. You've got to pay bills. You've got to do this. You've got to do that. It's not all creative and fun and this, that. So sometimes if you do have that parallel income, it will make the voiceover more fun. Especially in the beginning when I started anyway, I wasn't even thinking about making money off of what I do. I just did it and it happened to pay off. So yeah, I definitely agree with you in that I made it moment is definitely when you are able to live off of it. But at the same time, a part of me is like, I just want to do other stuff sometimes and not rely so much on it. So
I get it. And I do think that the trap that a lot of creatives in general fall into, I don't think it's just voice actors or just actors, is to kind of base their happiness on their booking ratio or their amount of income or, how many auditions they send off. And I always, like, when I talk to my coaching students or whatever, I always say, like, it's so important that you have something else that brings you joy and that makes you happy. Because if you start basing your personal happiness on the absolute volatility of this bloody industry, you're setting yourself up for failure. So whether that's another job or just a hobby or other people, something that, creates the joy in your life, so that this, as much as we love it, but that this is a job, then I think we're good.
Yeah. You brought up coaching. I wanted to talk a bit about that. How and why did you decide to delve into that world?
I think it just sort of happened organically. I did do a little bit of screen acting coaching before sort of focusing on the voice world, and I always really
Mm.
loved it. And then obviously the voice stuff, for the first few years, I was totally a novice myself and, coaching wherever I could. And I still coach with other coaches as well.
Okay.
I don't think you're ever done learning. But it just sort of happened through the fact that people would start reaching out to me and ask me for help and
Yeah.
ask me for advice and ask me for this and ask me for that. And I'd always be very happy to give that advice and, give my time. And at some point, it reached a point where I was like, I don't know if I can do this for free anymore. It's taking up a lot of my time and energy. And so I sort of, was like, okay, well, if you'd like to have a chat, let's book in
Yeah.
an hour for X amount. And it sort of then snowballed from there, where I just really enjoyed it. And I really love when someone comes to me and they ask me for the advice and then they go away and they do it and they come back and they're like, right, I've done this, this is my new demo. And I'm just like, yes, okay, great, let's carry on. And I've had
Yeah.
people signed with great agents and I've gotten
That's
people
cool.
jobs. And like, it's just such an amazing feeling when you're working with someone who's putting in the work and who gets it and who just does it. And it's like, yeah, it's such a proud but mama bear moment where you're like, that's my student.
That's my baby.
Yeah, exactly. And so it just kind of went from there. And then Gravy for the Brain last year, when the One Voice conference came around, asked me to teach a 3-hour workshop on auditioning for video games, which I've since repeated just independently with people both in person and online, and it's always been so much fun. And so it's just kind of organically happened, where I've learned so much amazing stuff from people over the years and from myself by doing the job, that I just felt like I just want to pass it on and help people who are doing it all by themselves, like I did at the beginning.
What kind of students are you coaching? Is it people at the very beginning or at the end who just want little tweaks here and there? Like, what kind of students do you teach?
I've had a couple of people sort of at the very beginning of it all. And a couple of them I've sort of had to say, look, you're going to need to go and get some acting lessons, because I'm not going to teach you acting. So, I've sort of said, look, I'm here when you need me again, when we can get into the voice acting specific stuff and the business coaching and the, all that stuff. But go and find an Amdram troupe or some improv classes or something and get a solid acting foundation first. So most of the people that I tend to work with are already a little bit further along, or they're people who, work successfully in commercials but really want to break into games. So then I start working with them on acting for character, acting for games, or people who want to update their demo and need a bit of advice with that. I have directed and sort of revamped a few demos with people and things like that. So it's a bit of a mix of things, but it's very rarely like I want to get into voice acting, what do I do? Those people tend to come to me and then I have a session with them and then I never hear from them again, because they realize that actually it's a lot of hard work.
Yes. I've had that before. Yeah, I know exactly what we're talking about. In terms of, I'm going to go back around again because I wanted to ask you a quick question. If you are a multilingual voice actor, how do you present that to the world in the form of demos? What does that look like?
It's a lot of work, because you basically need a demo for every bloody language you speak.
Yeah.
And I am actually the worst example of that, because my German demos are terrible. I've kind of, because I live in the UK, I've sort of always put my focus on my English demos.
Yeah.
So, but even that, my gaming demo is years old and I need to update it. But you basically, you need to create demos in all of the languages. And then if you're like an accent whiz, I would say, rather than, some people come to me who are like, okay, I want to make my gaming demo and I have like 17 accents that I want to showcase. It's like, okay, well, let's not do that.
Yeah.
Put like your 2, 3, maybe 4 strongest accent on the gaming demo, and then make accent samples individually, either on an accent demo. But even that, I feel like at this point, if somebody's looking for a South African accent, they don't want to scrub through 2 minutes of an accent demo to find the South African accent. Have the individual snippets on your website clearly labeled as this is my French accent, this is my Swedish accent, etc., and showcase that. Yeah, and for languages, depending on the genres that you want to work in, I have gaming, commercial, and corporate demo in all 3 languages, and then animation in German and French, German and English. And so, yeah, it kind of, it depends on which genres you want to work in and what is relevant for the country of that language as well. Like, I don't know if you speak fluent Albanian, probably an e-learning demo and a commercial demo is probably great, but like I'm not sure whether a video game demo in Albanian would be of much use, So be smart about it.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Just because you can speak a language doesn't mean you can necessarily act in that language. And
or that the demand is there. Like how many video games get localized into Albanian? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, I've got some fun, whatever you want to make it, questions that I want to throw your way, and I want you to just give me something. All right. If Pixar called tomorrow, what character would you like to voice?
I think if there was like if they did like what is it called, Inside Out 3?
Okay. Yeah.
Like one of the new emotions, whatever they introduce. So Inside Out 3, she would be like in her mid-20s. What's the new emotion that comes? Imposter syndrome. There you go. I'd voice Riley's imposter syndrome.
Okay, I love that. All right. If you were an audiobook, who would narrate it? And it can't be you.
Oh, no, it definitely wouldn't be me. I don't do audiobooks. Gosh, I have so much... I have so much respect for audiobook narrators. You have no idea. I did 3 early on, never again. Just the stamina.
It's horrible.
Yeah. Who would narrate it? Well, how about the 2023, I believe, Audie winner, Billy Fulford Brown?
Oh, yeah. Good choice, actually. Good choice. Okay. Warm-up routine, weird or normal? What is your warm-up routine, just quickly? Do you do all these blah, 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 faces and all that? Do you know what? I can see you doing that. I know. You don't answer that. I just know what that is already.
Look, I come from being a singer, and obviously as a singer, you have to warm up. And I did warm up when I was regularly singing. With the voice stuff, when I do like something that is vocally challenging, where I know I'm going into a gaming session and I know I'm going to have to do screaming and shouting or whatever, yes. Most of the time, I don't warm up. And that is because when I'm like, auditioning for a commercial where they're like, oh, we want this to sound like really natural and conversational, well, then they get my voice the way that it sounds. They don't get the voice that comes out after 10 minutes of warm-up where it's like all nice and smooth and, it all sits really solidly in my chest, because that's not the voice that they want. They want Leonie has just gotten out of bed voice, right? So when I do warm-up, yes, I do the and the lip trills, and I love bubbling in water with a straw, which is incredible. I love doing that. And like kind of articulator wake up and stuff. I sometimes notice when I just go straight in that like my eyes get a little bit lazy and my lips get a little bit lazy. So then I like pause the recording and I do a little bit of, that kind of stuff to sort of wake up the muscles. But I haven't got like a set warm-up routine that I do like every day. And I, again, have so much respect for people who do.
I am exactly in the same boat as you. It's really like if there's a gaming session or a longer session and there's a lot of money on it, then I will definitely warm up. But if it's literally like a half an hour commercial, whatever, you're right. It's like you want natural. You want, like, literally the other day, I'm not even joking to you, I woke up 7 a.m. and we all look at our phones and I see an audition just there, and it was from America. So obviously they always have these weird time differences and I never understand when it's meant to be delivered. So I just did it straight away. I literally woke up, went next door and recorded. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, you haven't even brushed your teeth, had some water, gone toilet. What is it? What are you?
I've been there.
And I'm like, my voice just sounded so like in my head, but I was like, whatever.
Well, it's especially the auditions that come from the States. Like sometimes my LA agent will message me like at 9 p.m. and they'll be like, this needs to be in today PST time.
Yeah.
So then obviously that means that I have to go and do it. And
Wow.
like, you know, I've been out at the pub and I've had a drink and I'll be like, right, off into the booth I go.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, for commercial stuff, especially now with the trend of commercial stuff going so towards natural human, you know, conversational delivery,
Yeah.
I wouldn't worry too much about, you know, the voice needing to sound really grounded. If you're doing an audiobook or anything that needs vocal stamina, of course, 100% animation as well, you know, voices like this for half an hour, like that's, you need to go and warm up that muscle. But for anything conversational, I don't bother.
Yeah. Hardest accent to master?
Ooh, what a good question. Hardest accent to master. I think like northern UK, like northern English, because there are so many nuances. I feel like, you know, if I do a French accent or a German accent, like I dial it up or I dial it down. General American, it's like nobody knows what someone from, you know, Kansas actually really sounds like. So you can kind of get away with it. But like, because in England, like the northern accents are so specific and so close to each other. Like you do, you know, what you think is like a Yorkshire and someone comes in like, no, actually that's Lancashire. And you're just like, okay, cool. I'm just not going to touch this then. So northern accents, I don't even bother with. Like I've got a bit of a Scottish in my repertoire if someone wants, you know, a little bit of that kind of, But yeah, all of the sort of northern English accents, I don't even try.
Has there been any accents that someone has put you on the spot? Do you know, like for example, you're doing a game and they always ask you like, oh, can you do this accent? Like it's literally just that easy. Like, has there been an instance where they've asked you to do something, you're like, no? There
have been a lot of situations where someone was like, oh, can you do this accent? And I was like, yeah. But it has happened in the past that I've had to say no to doing an accent because of ethical concerns.
Yes, of course.
Like, you know, if I go in and someone is like, oh, can you do like a Southern American kind of Hispanic accent? I'll be like, yes, I can, but I'm not going to. Can we do something different? Like my kind of rule of thumb is if the ethnicity of the person doesn't match mine, then I'm not doing the accent, even though I probably can. But no. So I've not had it that someone was like, oh, can you do this accent? And I had to be like, no, sorry, I can't, which is a bit of a baller thing to say.
Yeah. Yeah, that is. What is your favorite accent to perform?
French.
I do love French. In the English accent or
English in a French accent. Okay. Yeah. Okay. It's just because it's so ingrained in me. Like it was the first accent that I remember just falling in love with as a child, and then doing French throughout my school, doing French school exchanges, living in France, studying in France. Like it's so in me. I don't even have to think about it. Like if someone is like, oh, can you do a French accent? I'm like, yes, of course I can do a French accent. Like it just comes out. I don't even have to think about it. And I never have to be like, oh, how would I place this? Like, you know, when sometimes with an accent, you're a bit like, oh, wait, where does this vowel sound sit? French, it's just comes out. And it feels so delicious in the mouth. Like it just feels so nice. And it's just, So that is the one accent that like, oftentimes if I do like, do a little bit French there again. If I do like an audition for a character where the accent hasn't been specified, where they're sort of like, oh, we're open to options, I'll always throw in a cheeky French option just to see what happens. And more often than not, it's what books the job.
Yeah, of course. That's all that matters at the end of the day. All right, we need to end, but biggest lesson from rejection. This is where the lights get dimmer. And Leonie gets in her moment and she's going to tell us.
Zoom in on my face. I mean, okay, so the acting world obviously is a whole it's just one big rejection
Yeah.
all day, every day, right? And as someone with ADHD, I suffer quite severely from what's called rejection sensitive dysphoria, where rejection feels really painful. And it was something I had to learn very early on in this world, in this industry, that I can't take it personally, that it is almost never got anything to do with what you did, and it's almost always just not the right fit. Like, the jigsaw of casting. Oh, these needs to be siblings, so we need to find people who have similar accents here. This person gave the strongest performance, so we now need to find someone who has a similar accent to them. Oh, we really love this person, but this person has the right accent. It's like casting is such a clusterfuck of trying to make it all fit together. So I think, like, having been on the other side of it, having directed and having been involved in casting, has made it a lot easier for me to not see rejection in casting as something that I've done wrong, and that, where it's been a personal decision, or someone's listened to my tape and been like, what the fuck is this? I choose to believe with everything that I don't get that I was at least on the shortlist, whether that's true or not. I've said the same thing recently to someone who was a bit deflated about not having had any nominations at the One Voice Awards. They were like, oh, I thought I had a really strong year and I'm really deflated that I didn't get any. And I just like, okay, I understand that's really difficult. I get it. But just choose to believe that you were 1 point away from the shortlist in every single category. Doesn't help, but choose to believe that you were this close. And that's what I do with any audition that I don't get where I really wanted it. Most auditions I send and forget. Sometimes there's stuff where you're like, really wanted that one. And that is still painful to this day. I missed out on something very recently that I was really excited about and I didn't get it. And I got the email and it said, didn't go your way this time. They're very impressed with you. And it stings for a moment. And then you just have to say, well, congratulations to whoever booked it. Well fucking done. And then
I sometimes I'm like, I don't want to know. Like, I don't really know who's booked it. I don't even know that I was up in the shortlist. Just tell me if I got it or not. Like, that's it. Like,
I don't want to know if I didn't book something usually, unless I've if I've invested time, I've gone back in for in-person casting, or I've like penciled dates or whatever. Fine, then please let me know that I stop, thinking about this. If I've just like sent in an audition, please don't let me know that I didn't get it, because it just reminds me, like, I've already forgotten about it. If you then email, didn't go your way this time, I was like, before that, I didn't even think about it. It's a tricky one, this, I think. And the the big green monster jealousy is always there, looking at people's Instagrams and seeing the stuff that they're doing, and back in the studio here, back in the studio there. I get it. It's really difficult. It's so difficult, and I don't have an answer to it. The only answer I have is find joy somewhere else in your life, so that kind of stuff doesn't sting as much.
I love that. Yeah, I controversial or not, I don't actually follow many voiceovers for that reason.
That's fair.
I have them on stories, but in terms of posts, I don't, because for that reason, I'm a bit better now, but in the beginning, I wouldn't say it's a jealousy thing. I think it's more I am very competitive. So even though we are completely in a different lane, we were not coming for the same jobs. In my mind, your competition to me, friendly competition, obviously, because everyone's cool. But I just was like beating myself up. I was like, no, I want something now. And I just thought, no, this isn't right for me. I'm doing well, or where I'm at. I need to close that door a little bit. And if I want to look, I can look over when I want to. I just don't want it in my face all the time. And
absolutely,
it does help. I do think you need resets as well, where you just don't look at all for a while.
Yeah.
But it's part and parcel of the job. You're going to get rejections, you're going to get FOMO, you're going to get all of that stuff. But it's how you deal with it. And you learn over time. You're not going to learn it overnight.
No, absolutely. I totally get that. And I think good for you to realize that that's something that got to you, and to limit your intake of it. I think that is the most important thing, right? There are some people, genuinely, I believe, who look at social media and who see everyone else booking jobs and they're like thrilled for them. And I see those people on social media, you know, your Katie Jostocks and your Chloe Elmores, they are out there commenting on every single person's post being like, yeah, you go, girl, well done. And I believe that they are genuinely thrilled for those people, and that's amazing. But if you're the kind of person who looks at other people's posts and is like, oh man, I feel like I'm getting left behind and I wish I'd booked that, stop looking at those posts. It's not going to help you. Unfollowing those people, they're not going to take that personally. They're not going to notice. I'm sorry. It's not like anyone notices if you unfollow them. You know, put your mental health first. Follow some people where you feel like you're getting something out of their content. If someone's posting educational content or, you know, stuff where you actually feel like this is helpful. But if it's people who are constantly just posting about their successes and it's making you feel shit about yourself, unfollow them. Nobody's gonna think less of you for that. Little therapy session.
I know. I feel better now. All right, let's wrap it up. What's next for Leonie? You're a very busy woman, so what's next for you?
Yes, I am. It's been an incredible sort of 8 months where it's so busy, like I've barely known what to do with it, which is incredible. My poor agent has to play diary Tetris to be like, when are you available for this? It's been amazing. I'm actually off to Amsterdam tonight to direct a project for a couple of weeks. And then I'm back in Brighton for a little bit. And then I'm at VO Atlanta at the end of the month, speaking on overcoming procrastination and hosting the mental health panel together with Katie Jostock. And working on multiple video game titles, both directing and acting. Still prodding along and plugging away at that animation. I feel like that's a really difficult niche to get into, and I'm sort of working on it. And just kind of appreciating everything along the way, and being so grateful that I get to do this as a job. And hopefully it's just going to keep on being amazing, because it's just been the most insane and incredible ride these past few years.
Well, I'm sure it will be fine, because you put in the work and you'll continue to put in the work, and what you put in you will receive. So I
Thank you.
wish you the utmost luck, and you'll be fine.
Same to
thank you for joining me today. It was nice to catch up with you, and hopefully get to catch up with you soon when you're back from your travels and all of that. But we will speak soon. And for everyone listening, thank you. If you're watching, thank you as well. And until next time, bye.
Bye.